Hey everyone, we are back in Australia visiting some family at the moment, and I managed to just squeeze in a quick private workshop with a supporter of the channel, Ross. I didn't run my group workshops this year, but it was really fun to spend a morning or two with Ross. Now I'm here at Bombo Quarry. This is a place that I've literally photographed hundreds of times. This is my old stomping ground, and some of these images I have from here are 10 to 13 years old. So I've returned this morning to see what we might be able to do. Is there something that inspires us? I don't care either way. It's just nice to get here and have a look around again, because I do have so many fond memories here. So I'll try to share with you a few compositional tips and tips for shooting seascapes in general. Let's go. It's quite a dangerous location. It's quite dangerous because you really get drawn closer to the action, different compositions. But then we've got the competing swell always coming in, which adds some drama and makes it interesting. But obviously the chance of, let's just say I've got saturated here my fair share of times. So this morning, look, I've just come down to see what speaks to me. Obviously when you've photographed and been to a place many times, maybe the inspiration's a little lower. Well, it certainly is compared to going somewhere brand new. So I'm just looking around and just seeing, do I notice something compositionally that maybe I've missed in the past? Some lovely light and high clouds starting to come in. It's all shaping up to make for a nice sunrise. Yesterday with Ross on the private workshop, we concentrated on the finer details. We had quite a clear sky, so we zoned in and photographed close up the water dripping down the basalt. This morning though, particularly this section of the quarry, this is a good spot for wide angle photography. To have these main features in the back, whether you go wide like this and pick up 1, 2 and then 3. I'm just wondering, is there potential to maybe just frame up that singular tower back here, which I haven't really tried to do before. Normally I'm trying to get the whole scene in, but yeah, just looking that direction, especially if we get some light striking that. A little natural opening that leads straight to that. I'm wondering if I can try that. That is right in the impact zone in there, but I can envision really low and close with a 12mm. It would frame up that tower great. But of course, this is the problem when this wave comes in. One of many pros of not using a tripod is, yeah, being handheld does allow me to get in and get out of these areas, but yeah, that's a little bit hairy. Now that I've seen the comp though, I feel like I need to try it. Let's just get the lens out anyway. I'm going to be using the 12 to 24mm. Really be trying not to get this lens wet, as you would have heard me mention on countless videos. It's a pain in the butt when this 12 to 24 gets wet. I don't know if mine's lost the coating off the front, but once this one gets wet, it's really hard to lift the water off. Oh man, look at that light. Woo-hoo-hoo! You know, light inspires me. The second I see that nice light, I'm inspired. Timing is everything with seascape photography. Timing the water flow as it's coming in or it's retreating, or a combination of both, in conjunction with using the correct shutter speed. That is everything, just to get the right texture on the water. Get the settings somewhat sorted now. I know I'm going to want around 1/5 of a second, 1/4, somewhere around there. F11 for the big depth of field, ISO 100. And now the fun part is actually going in to try and get a comp. Here comes, these waves might just be way too big. Compositionally, this is the iconic frame here with the balance. 1 pillar, 2, the rock in the middle, completely separated. Gotta watch out. Woo! Gotta watch out for that water. Here comes another one. lulls you into a false sense of security. But man, oh man, does it work well. You just never know when one's gonna suddenly, here comes a big one now actually. Could have a quick escape. You've got to be keeping your eyes on the horizon. Well, I've taken a few test shots and I don't know if I'm really liking that comp anyway, thankfully, because that was a tricky one to execute. But I think the tower by itself is just not really, it's too solitary and there's not much going on either side, so it's leaving quite an open space. So we might just explore some other frames. There's a reason why some places just work and have iconic images of them. Sometimes compositionally, it's just, the balance is there, it's so strong. I think one of the issues I have with some of this area, Bombo, is all this barren rock. Not much going on. You get a few reflections here and there, which is nice, but I like our life, energy, movement, make the image more dynamic. Just working my way around the general section. A lot of considerations, particularly with balance. Big dark objects, and then the white really stands out. There's definitely a lot to consider from a compositional standpoint. That's kind of interesting. I've got to be careful I don't get sucked into going down there because we've had a few big ones. Here we go. Now this is not a bad frame action wise when those waves are coming in. Why don't we fit the towers in, left, right. The big stone is in the middle. It's getting a little lost, but when a wave comes, you get that separation there, and all the boulders in the foreground make it interesting too. I think if we sit here and time this with a big wave, we might be onto something. We've still got that color in the sky, shooting at 1/4 of a second, which is rendering a nice texture on the water. I don't mind this little comp. We just need foam to fill the foreground again and the wave action to hit our rock in the middle there. There we go. What do we learn from that? Oh, wow. I'm kind of liking this guy. Woo! Seeing a potential frame on the mid-range too now. So I'm going to set up again and zoom in and get some compression. I'm actually trying a 50mm composition now. I'm just really zoning in on the background tower with the light on it. And the 50mm is really just gonna accentuate the drama, pull everything together. When you have water coming in at a high pace, you don't want the shutter to be too slow. You'll miss all the texture and the form. So at the moment I'm sitting around 1/5, 1/6 of a second. And that still gets the texture and strands of the water, but it's still relatively soft. It's a really nice in-between. It's a common speed I'd use on waterfalls as well. Well, that was a fun one. Battery ended up dying on the GoPro, sorry about that. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what I'd find this morning. You know, when you've been to a place hundreds of times over the years. So it was nice to just come in with no preconceived ideas. There's also been a few whales, humpback whales migrating at the moment, and every now and then one of them's passing through. It's just such a nice way to start the day, whether you keep an image or not, who cares? And I hope for you guys you're able to get out as well and just have time with the camera, be outdoors. You never know what you're going to find. Hey everyone, well, still on vacation here, but I figured might as well just quickly run through some of these raw files and give you a bit of an indication of what I was trying to achieve out there in the field. Undecided if I'll be keeping any of these, but I just wanted to share a look at some of the images anyway. So here we have the wider perspective. This was 20mm and really going for that balance, which I said works really well at this location, and then trying to time things with that nice light and getting the wave rolling through. This is 1/4 of a second, and you can see you get that nice texture on the water. Now, sometimes people say, hey, can you shoot handheld without the tripod with these slow shutters? You can see here, 1/4, we're sharp all the way through. So you really want to have a mirrorless camera with the inbuilt stabilization. If you can sit down, use your elbows to stabilize yourself, then you'll be surprised what you can do. I've been doing it for 8 years now, not using the tripod. So it's definitely achievable, but you want to employ some of those methods like I just mentioned. So we have that wider perspective there. It has a lot more depth in this frame because we have that near and far, the big elements progressively getting smaller, the diminishing perspective. And when it comes to processing, I'll just reset this. You'll be surprised. Look how flat it is. But very easy to bring out details in a frame like this. I'll just straighten that up like so. And, you know, throw on a landscape profile, recover some of that dynamic range, bring the highlights down. Shadows can come up a touch. Lots of green in, so I'll just pull that into the magenta more, just, you know, the white balance on the given days, just decided to do that. And the color grading goes a long way in these types of frames, just warming up some of those highlights. And now the local adjustments is king. I will use the exposure down up top part of the sky. That will help bring the eye down towards the main centralized area, the main focal point. And now I'm brightening things up and just adjusting, you know, rehazing, which is lifting these dark tones brighter all through that centralized area. I'll even lift the shadows as well as lifting up some of the blacks in that distant zone, just like that. That helps push things further away, the atmospheric perspective. In the foreground, epic light on those rocks. So if I want to really work that, with a brush, bring up the yellows and the magenta and just hit that left-hand side. I'll turn that on and off before, after. You can really see what that does. And you can just pick a few zones where you do something like that. And then I think I'll just jump into the global color, bring up the vibrance, small amount of saturation, and then just in the distant zone, I'll bring up some exposure, some yellow, and just a bit more brightening back there. If we just turn that on and off, and then if we reapply, that's obviously a very rushed job, but you get the idea. It just shows you how flat the raw files can come out when you have a big dynamic sunrise or sunset like this. You're exposing for the highlights, and then you have to reveal the details in the right areas. So the other perspective that I was capturing, as I mentioned out there, was going a little tighter, isolating the one pillar. And yeah, this was really standing out to me as like a strong focal point. Looking at the raw files now, yeah, I don't know, I'm undecided. I probably gravitate more towards this one. Having that splash on the left, I think balances out the comp better than not having the splash there. I purposely left in this wall to try and fill that void slightly and again, balance out the comp, but I think the splash helps accentuate that further. I've done a very, very quick process on this one, just, you know, with that dynamic range. The tonality here works well for black and white. Lots of contrast. So go black and white, and then I would really lean into a darker sky. Exposure down, even de-hazing. So go on the plus side this time, just for the upper part of the sky. And that will make those mid-tones in the clouds darker, darker, darker. Could even bring the blacks down up here and, you know, really lean into a more dramatic feel, which that's what's fun about black and white. You can defy reality a little more, I think, and have some fun with it. And back in the distance here, you know, reveal those details, something like that. I think You could even crop this as a 4x5 or the 2x3, no right or wrong. That's the color. You get the idea anyway. So it was really fun to get out there and do that type of photography. I'll probably just process 2 of these and then I'll put it in my draft folder, let it marinate, and time will tell if I decide to hang on to it. It is tricky when you photograph a place so many times to get something that you want to keep in the portfolio. I've been enjoying a few other shoots while I'm here on the coast, and I've got more videos coming up shortly. A few different scenarios I've been photographing. So it's been a refreshing break so far, but I'm still getting the camera out because I just love photography, and hope you guys can get your camera out soon as well. Appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully I'll see you in another one soon. Otherwise, stay tuned to the channel because there's more videos on the way. Cheers.